Hello everyone and welcome to the finals of the MrDodgy Invitational, the prestigious one, that is 2.0. It's Anish Giri versus Baadur Jobava, and Jobava already defeated Alexander Grishuk in Vidit, and now he needs to take down another one of the candidates, that is Anish Giri. And there were a lot of games to choose from. I decided to show you this one, even though the entire game might not be as exciting as you might hope. The part of the game that I'm going to show you will be. And I'm going to show you the entire game, but we're just going to focus on the really important part. So Giri has the white pieces, and he opens with e4. Sorry about that. He opens with e4, we have c5, going for the Sicilian defense, knight to f3, and now e6. We have d4, captures, and knight to f6 now. We have knight to c3 and the bishop to b4, inviting white to go for a very, very sharp line, that is e5. And here Anish goes for it. We have knight to d5 now with a double attack on the c3 knight, and even though queen to g4 is a really interesting move here, for example, you could go something like queen g4, then allow a capture here. It's not good or anything, but sometimes black might capture here, but then you're just gonna play queen captures on g7, and there really is no good discovery. Once you go back, deliver check with the bishop, we're just gonna play c3, attack the bishop, and now you have to play something. The rook is still hanging, so for example, rook f8 captures here, and white will be much better here. So instead, after knight to d5, we have this bishop to d2 move. This is the strongest move objectively. We have bishop captures, b captures, now doubling the c pawn for the moment, but you will use the extra c pawn to kick away the knight from this excellent d5 outpost. So here we have castles and c4 now, attacking the knight, knight to e7, and now there are some games where bishop to d3 was played, also bishop to b4 is a known move, but here we have knight to b5, and it is as of move 10 that we have a completely new game. So let's see how Baadur continues here. He plays knight to c6. There's really no way of stopping knight coming to d6, so he's not even trying. Bishop to c3, defending the e5 pawn, and now a6, chasing away the knight. So knight does come to d6, but now Baadur plays knight captures on e5. Point is that if the bishop is captured, then the queen can connect with check and pick up this bishop, for example. Bishop captures, queen to a5 with check. Now we have to block this, for example, c3, and now captures with check. So what do you play here? You have to play something. Also, you're going to lose the c3 pawn with check, then king to f1, and then it's just black who's better. So instead, what Anish figured here, he said, okay, we're going to leave the knight where it is. We'll just start expanding with h4. Now he wants to get h5 and h6 in. We have f6 now, defending this knight on e5, and here Anish just continues pushing his h-pawn. So h5, we have knight to f7, now offering a trade here, but also keeping an eye on the h6 square, but Anish doesn't care. He just sacrifices a second pawn. So here, h6. So here you can see that white really doesn't care about pawns, already sacrificing the second pawn, doubling his c-pawn. So what is the point of all this? Well, the knight is on a beautiful square here, pretty much paralyzing black's entire development. The bishop is on an excellent square, and now after sacrificing this h-pawn, as you'll see, knight captures, bishop is coming to d3. And we basically reached the position from the thumbnail where the bishop pair is fully operational. So let's see. What can Anish do with this fully operational bishop pair? We have knight to g6, adding another defender here, and now comes c5. Here, locking this knight on d6, so it doesn't... it's not all that easy for black to attack it. And here, black should play f5. With f5, you're really... limiting the power of this light square bishop. However, queen to c7 was played here, and now Anish goes in for the kill. He plays rook captures on h6. Makes sense. I mean, we all knew that this was happening. Next year, probably going to move the queen. Later on, maybe you can even bring this rook into the attack. So g captures, and now queen to h5. This is the only winning move for white, and of course, Anish goes for it. We have b6, preparing to pick up the c5 pawn and then offer a queen trade. And here we have bishop captures on g6. Again, the correct way to continue. And now black really doesn't have good reply here. For example, if the bishop is captured, we're just gonna play queen captures, and you're getting checkmated. For example, king here, we're gonna capture here, and after the king moves back, king g6, king here, and then we're just gonna play castles queenside, and there is no defense against the rook to h1. So instead, after bishop captures on c6, Baadur played queen captures on c5. He offered a queen trade, but it doesn't matter because the position is still completely winning for white. So feel free to pause the video here and win the game for Anish while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on playing the only move that wins. Well, sort of only. Capturing the queen also wins, but we don't want to play that, and that is bishop to f7 check. So congratulations to everyone who found it. Point is that there really is no good move here. If the king moves, we're just going to capture with the bishop. This is checkmate. So your best hope is to just play king to g7, but now comes the real problem, and that is bishop captures on f6. And now you really don't have a move. Only move is to capture with the king, and now knight to e4 check, forks the king and the queen, and that's it. There's no real point in playing this. Knight captures, b captures, and now we, okay, the bishop will be lost, but it doesn't matter. We can just play d captures here, d captures, queen captures. We're gonna get the rook into the game. We have a queen and the rook against two rooks and the bishop. This is completely winning. But as I mentioned, these are blitz games, 5 minutes per player, no seconds increment. So of course players will miss things. So after queen captures on c5, Anish played queen captures on h6, thinking, okay, it's even better because we're just gonna checkmate him. We don't care about this queen captures on c3. But as it turns out, there's a problem. Of course, Jobava will not capture on g6. He's going to capture this with check. We have king to e2, and now, of course, not captures rook, but rather queen to e5 with check. We have knight to e4, blocking check, and now rook to f7. This is how Jobava defends against checkmate, and now white will really have to struggle to prove that he's better. He plays bishop captures on f7. You might consider bringing the rook to h1 first, but okay, bishop captures on f7, king captures, and queen captures on h7. King to e8, now queen h8 check, king to e7, queen g7 check, king to d8, and now queen captures on f6 with check. And now we enter an endgame where the material is completely equal. Captures, captures, and now you can see that it's bishop and rook against the bishop and knight, against the rook and knight with 4 pawns each. And even black has 2 pawn islands, whereas white has 3 pawn islands. So if anything, black is better here. It's a game on both sides of the board, and black has the bishop. So Giri missed his chance of winning this game very, very early on. And here, this is only move 29, and the game lasted some 80 moves. And well, both of them are very good players, and this game did end in a draw. So I'm going to show it to you what happened. King to e7, and we're just going to quickly go through it because, well, nothing really interesting happened in this endgame, but we will show it as, you know, it is what we do here. But I really wanted to show you this game because of the first part of the game, so not much really happening here. Later on, we did have some interesting moves. For example, here a pawn was sacrificed, so Anish could start pushing his past g pawn. For example, king d4, knight e8, and now you could capture the pawn. For example, if bishop captures, knight captures on d6, and now, for example, e5. But it doesn't really matter because whatever you play, let's say b3, you push the pawn, c3 check, we're just gonna eliminate this pawn. Captures, captures, and now it doesn't matter that black is up a piece because after, let's say, c4, king d4, we can just play king b2, give up the pawn, and it's the bishop is of the wrong color. We're on a dark square, he has a light square bishop, so of course you cannot win this. So instead of this, king to e5 was played. Then g5, white started pushing his passed pawn, but now bishop e4. c4, we have bishop to g6 attacking the knight, knight c7, and now a5. So not much for either sides to do here. King to b3 was played, we have bishop to f5, and now king to a4. And going after this pawn, we have king to d4, and now g6. Giving up the pawn for this pawn, we have captures, captures with check, and now king captures on c4. King captures on a5, and now there is no way of winning this. A few more moves were played, and white Black tried something, but of course white did not allow it here. If you capture, of course, the pawn falls. This is just a draw by insufficient material. So a few more moves were played, not a lot to say about this, but in the end the game ended in a draw. But I really wanted to show it to you. There were a couple of games to choose from. I still decided to show you this one, even though it ended in a draw, because this wonderful up until this point it was just total annihilation. And had Giri played after queen captures on c5 something like what was discussed here, bishop to f7 check, or queen captures on c5 even, this game would have ended very quickly. But yeah, that's the game. In the end, Anish defeated Jobava by the score of 7-3, which is really impressive. And I guess it all kind of started. They went back and forth with their wins, but then Baadur dropped a rook. He suffered a loss due to a mouse slip, and then I guess it kind of it's too much to against a player like Anish. When something like this happens to you, then it all just starts piling up. Maybe you have to use a bit sharper lines, not the ones that you were hoping to use, maybe to keep it more safe. Who knows? But yeah, another match that was tarnished by the mouse slip. So yeah, congratulations to Anish for winning yet again MrDodgy Invitational. They said that if they invited him again, that he would have to play with handicap because he's obviously too strong here. So we'll see how it goes, and will there be a MrDodgy Invitational 3.0? I guess it will, because people do enjoy it a lot. So that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it, or at least the part that led to this position. I would like to thank David, Geoffrey Cook, Tsanko Tsolov, Kevin Hawkins, and Austin Del Rio for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the Morphy saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.